Hey,
Hi,
it's Tash and Carly,
and you're listening to Motherhood,
not as we planned.
So get comfy, grab a cup of tea,
Or a glass of wine, and let's start talking about all the things too many of us avoid discussing.
Hi guys.
Hi, welcome back. Oh, that was like in sync.
No,
In sync, NSYNC.
just downed a coffee. I might suddenly be like, suddenly be like, blah, 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 blah. So,
guys, as always, we want to make sure that you are not missing out on those Patreon episodes. So make sure you go onto the link on our Instagram and join. Like we've got like a really
yes,
lovely little community.
It's like not bigging us up, but it's kind of mental at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's really nice.
Must be those great teasers we edit. Anyway, and as always, all the reviews that you're leaving on Apple, we really appreciate them. We want to get our subscription up on YouTube as well. So if you prefer watching to listening, if you didn't even realise you can actually watch this rather than listen, go on our YouTube account. And yeah, just thank you always for spreading the love, tagging us on your Instagram, TikTok. Really appreciate it. Shall we have a little
Catch me up in your
catch
way.
up? What is my catch up? Nothing massively exciting. I've been going to the gym, and on Friday night, my plans got cancelled, and I thought, like, who am I? I'm going to go to the gym. And yeah, I think all the fit people are hiding in the gym on a Friday night. I literally walked in and I was like,
Did you talk to anyone? No, you just stared at them.
yeah, yeah. Just showing off with my weights. It was actually really fun. I love people watching, but there's something nicer about just watching just like sweaty flopping. sexy sweaty men. It was just quite a nice, sometimes it's nice to window shop. You know, I'm not buying anything. I'm just having a little browse. You know, it's like that early shelf. You know, it's like that early shop. Like you're not allowed to shop until 11 on a Sunday, but you can browse from 10:30. So, you know, that's what I was doing. Look at the menu, but not eating. So, yeah, I haven't really done anything else. Like I had a really chilled weekend. I have nothing else to report.
Yeah, I feel like my catch-up's really boring.
Yeah.
I went to the cinema.
I knew you. I thought.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that.
What? Inside Out?
Yeah, so I took the boys to see Inside Out too. I'd heard really good things. They loved the first one. I didn't realise how amazing it would be.
How was Milo in the cinema?
Amazing. Sort of sat on my lap the entire time.
Because I'm going this weekend.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I like going to cinema doesn't faze me with them. He'll sit there and he'll say like certain things like, "Mummy, is that sadness?" And like he's really cute. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Couldn't fault them. But for anyone who doesn't know what it's about, so it's about when Riley turns 13 and she gets all these new emotions, and one of them, the main character in this one, is anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think because I'd never experienced anxiety until like the last 18-ish months, I find it really hard to explain and describe it to people who have never experienced it. Like, I don't think I ever really understood when someone said I had really bad anxiety. I don't think I ever really understood what that meant. And it just, honestly, like the way it just explained it, I was crying my eyes out because you kind of feel like so seen and heard and validated that you feel all of those things. And like there was this bit where she had an anxiety attack, and I don't know, especially I think for anyone who's ever experienced anxiety or panic attacks or anything like that, watching that, it will literally like,
I've heard it's pretty much more like an adult film.
it's amazing. But the kids loved it too, so it was that perfect, like it wasn't one of those kids films where you go in and you have a little snooze.
Yeah.
It was really, really
I think I might go and see it on the weekend.
And like, especially like, I don't know if any of you who are listening have anxiety and you have a partner who maybe doesn't quite understand what that means, go with them and watch it, because I just think sometimes it's really hard to articulate feelings like that. And I don't know, I just thought it was really beautifully done, really clever. And I think it's quite empowering that our children will grow up having watched that, knowing what anxiety is.
Yeah.
And like, it's just really beautiful. Like there was a couple of bits where it was saying how like that anxiety was like, but I was just trying to protect you. And it's really interesting. Like a lot of my anxiety is about trying to protect myself.
That is the brain.
It's just so, I just found it
like fight or flight.
So clever.
I love that.
And it was, Joy was saying like, maybe when you grow up, you just feel less joy. And it just, it's just, it was a really emotional film. But yeah, not much other to report. I had a really lovely weekend with the boys, actually. Really lovely weekend. Like, I hate the word wholesome, but it was just, one of those weekends. They were really lovely behaved. I think, I don't know, I'm just really valuing my time with them at the moment. And yeah, this week trying to get ready, go away to Venice on Friday. Only booked a hotel last night, didn't we? Because that's how we roll these days. Anxiety. Yeah, I feel like I've always been like this really on it, organised person with stuff like that. Like really like, I'm quite paranoid about being late for things. And my boyfriend is like the polar opposite. Like, honestly, we've been on trips where we haven't had a hotel till like 12 hours before, or we've booked things on the day. Like, he's so laid back, he's horizontal, but actually it's been quite a good
balance.
Well, it's changed me a bit more, because I always
it's not working in my favour.
Yeah, no, it's not. I said to him, I think people hate me now. But I've always been so early to things, and not that I'm saying I want to be late for things, but once I was late since being with him, and he's like, did anything bad happen? And I was like literally no, like, but I stressed myself because I read this quote and it was like, children who are rushed around and like around that become like quite stressed and anxious adults, and I don't want like my worries about being late for things to rub off on my kids and then that like impact who they are late. I don't know. God, I've been reading too much. Anyway, let's crack on.
Let's crack on with some emails. Don't rush though.
Just gonna take my sweet time. Okay, so it's called Light at the End. So I thought it's quite a nice way to start.
Let's do that.
Hi, I wanted to send a message as I hope this will give some strength to listeners out there who feel they are in the depths of darkness. After 20 years together and 14 years married with two amazing girls, last June my husband and I separated. When I look back, it has been coming for a while. We moved house 3.5 years ago to what I thought was our forever home. From the outside, people that didn't know me must have thought we had it all. But the emotional abuse I'd been experiencing for years upped a gear and I was bitterly depressed. For some reason, my ex decided I should be in debt to him for this amazing house we now lived in. I explained before we bought it, as I paid all the bills out of my account and saw the costs adding up, it would be super tight money-wise. He decided this was totally fall on me to sort out. This led to a substantial amount of debt being racked up in my name. He was controlling, manipulating and coercive. He never had my back. God, isn't that just scary? Like your husband.
It's not even that. I think the thing that stood out to me the most in that bit that we've read so far is anyone that would have looked at us would have thought that we've had it all. And something like, I just want to really highlight that, because I think we're so guilty all the time.
I look like I had it all.
Of comparing ourselves to these families or people that we either see on social media or just socialise with, thinking that they have it all, but sometimes they don't. And then we're sitting there almost like punishing ourselves and making ourselves feel less worthy for something that doesn't actually even exist.
His dad caused massive problems between us. Things started to come to head when I was admitted to hospital for a week with the doctors. Initially thought was a stroke. To have him say I'd made it all up and dramatise things for attention. When I was finally discharged and wanted to carry on holding a family party for our daughter. What?
Oh.
He voiced this all to my family and to his, and I was so embarrassed.
That's horrible.
Forward on to my 40th birthday in February 2023, and I thought things were improving as he suggested we go away with the kids to New York, his treat. This turned out to result in every month constantly asking him to transfer the money so I could pay for the holiday. Yes, it meant I would book everything and organise it down to the last detail. Just before he flew out, I asked him for some money. My job paid 5 times less than his, and he had said it would be his treat to book to go to the Empire State and see the Statue of Liberty. His reply was he was already paying for the hotel and flights, and it was down to me to find the money for everything else. I had no savings and literally earned minimum wage. My credit cards were also maxed to the limit. My only option was to take out another card and hope that was enough to get the 4 of us through the holiday. I'm sorry, I find this so weird. Like, in a marriage, you're a team, and like...
Also,
I don't know, when...
It's for her birthday.
I just find this weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. When I was married, it was kind of like one part.
Same.
Because
Don't get me wrong, like, I understand that every situation of family is different. You do what works for you. But
I found this really weird.
So do I.
Like, you'd be like, oh, it's fine, I've got it. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're married, aren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah. Find that weird.
Every single item, including my own birthday cake, bar one dinner, was paid for by me on the card I had taken out. On my actual birthday morning, he hadn't even got me a card from the kids. Right. And when we returned home, things went from bad to worse. He was a narcissist. I was being gaslighted and battered down with lies, nastiness, and vile comments. In June 2023, I finally found the strength to say I was done. A year of absolute hell followed, with no sign of him leaving the house. He would go out all night and come back the next afternoon, leave me to rush around with the kids, allow me no access to money to move out. Our daughter was self-harming, but he would block me from any attempt at putting the house on the market. I'd booked a girls' holiday right after the split and thought 1 year later we would be divorced and my life would be able to restart. No such luck. I contemplated about going on the girls' holiday myself. Esteem was zero. I had put on 3 stone and every day still felt like so much effort. The divorce was consuming me. I decided to put all that aside, and last month I went on the girls' holiday. Those 4 days of being away and having time to find myself and enjoy being me was the absolute best medicine. I met someone out there, nothing serious, but it made me feel like I was worth something and I was pretty, even if it was just for a couple of days. We've been chatting since I returned home and he's offered to meet up, and it's just given me that little bit of confidence I needed. The day after I got back from my Ibiza, I called Universal Credit, explained everything I was going through and found out I was eligible for some help towards rent. I contacted letting agents and have found and secured a house for me and the girls. We're beginning to move in the next weekend. I was worried about telling my ex I was leaving, but actually when it came round to it, I was able to tell him without me breaking down in tears and without shaking and my voice quivering. I was turning a corner and he was no longer going to control, manipulate and abuse me any longer. The kids and I would be able to find our happiness again. I'm so sorry for the long message, but I've listened to your podcast for a year, and every time you mention you will find yourself, you will be amazed by your strength. I never thought it was possible. There never felt like there was going to be this light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you so much for giving people the space to support one another and provide that hope that there is life after divorce.
I love that. Like, well done. Like, how fucking empowering. You're doing it on your own. You're doing it the right way. You're healing. You're taking steps to do something for yourself on your own. Like, it is scary. Like,
when you step back and recognise, like, the control and the gaslighting, and then I think it's almost like, this isn't the life I'm living. No, like, it's when you kind of realise that. It's like how you said when you finally spoke to him and you didn't break down and cry. I think you just, it's cliche.
a bold moment.
Yeah, and you do just find that strength when you need to find it. So hopefully anyone who's in like the thick of it right now, listen to that, will give you like a spark of hope that the same will happen to you.
It will.
Affirm.
Hey, Tash and Carly. Firstly, can I just say you were both absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I needed to hear this today.
Your podcast literally gives me a reason to get up and keep going at times. I love that. I'm a huge fan of the Patreon episodes. Keep up the amazing work and absolutely smashing motherhood. Possibly remember I wrote in before explaining my story. Last summer when I found out my ex-husband was lying, cheating, gambling, drinking and basically a complete waste of space. After 13 years of putting up with it, being walked all over, he went on a night out and didn't come back. To be honest, I don't specifically remember that because that just sounds like every email that we read. We'll carry on. Anyway, I wanted to give you an update. It's now almost 18 months on since he left. The divorce still hasn't finalised, sadly. Things have been a roller coaster, to say the least. Constantly letting the children down, not showing up, yet posting all over social media what a great dad he is. That is just honestly the biggest ick of life. No longer working, in fact hasn't now worked since last November, therefore hasn't paid a single penny towards our 3 incredible children. Don't know, maybe he's just really good at that gambling. However, when he does show up, always has a fresh haircut and a Costa coffee in hand. Maybe he's an escort. it would seem that he has basically gone on complete self-destruct, which is actually quite sad. But the saddest thing that I found myself realising now is that 18 months ago, I genuinely thought that he was going to have turned his life around, have a great job, new partner and living his best life. That is how much he had convinced me that I was the reason for all of his mistakes, and that once he had left and didn't have me and our children, he would be a better person. I'm not sure if either of you felt this way or if I have been betrayed as if this was the case, but I now know I wasn't to blame, and in fact it didn't matter how much I tried, he never would have changed. I've tried dating on and off, but online dating is absolutely brutal and not for me. I'm now trying Carly's method and I'm going to manifest the man of my dreams. At least that's what I keep telling myself.
Be really specific with location though, yeah.
The children are really struggling with the lack of routine around seeing their dad and being constantly let down, especially our middle child who has ASD and ADHD. I'm hopeful that in time things will get back as the children get older. It's just a painful process seeing them hurting. I've just been really respectful and don't badmouth their dad in front of the children. Good girl, as I feel it's better that way, that they make their own opinions of their dad. This is sadly becoming the reality of the older two as time goes on. My 3 babies all tell me how much they love me and how lucky they are to have me, which keeps me going. The truth is I'm lucky to have them. They keep me going, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do if it wasn't for them. I didn't get to make the last event, but I'm really hopeful I'll be able to make the next one. Love you guys. Love what you do. Thank you. What I think is really interesting, and I think is really common when you see these men like get up and leave and they make you think that you are the problem, and you tell yourself that they're going to lead this amazing life and become this better person and find this woman and treat her the way that you always wanted to be treated. And I feel like this is kind of, funnily enough, the reality of it a lot of the time. Like, they don't do the work. They almost like self-destruct a bit, and they can't hack life on their own.
We say it time and time again, like, these people don't just go away and do the work and turn into these incredible people and give other people everything you ever wanted. Like,
and it's frustrating when they obviously deflect all their issues onto you and you sit there believing it. But I'm so happy to hear that a year down the line or however long it's been, you're now able to see it. It's not you. It never was you.
And this shows, like, it could be like 18 months ago, but even once you're broken up, they'll still carry on the deflection and the blame and, you know, whatever it is, because I think a lot of these people just don't take the accountability for their actions. And it is that gaslighting. It is making that person think like they're being unreasonable, they're to blame, like it's all because of them. And do you know what? I remember feeling exactly like that. I remember thinking maybe I am being unreasonable, asking to spend some evenings with him. Like, maybe I should just let him go and do his own thing. And it wasn't until we broke up that I realised they were all very reasonable requests. I wasn't saying you can never do this, but we didn't spend any time together.
I remember being told by an ex that my expectations were too high and that I should lower them. And I did at times question that. I thought maybe he's right. Maybe I asked for too much. Maybe what I want is unrealistic. I look back now and I realise my expectations were not too high. He just wasn't able to meet them. And I'll find someone who wants to meet them and can exceed them. 100%. And that's what I think that we need to be giving off. Like, don't ever lower your standards for someone. If they don't want to meet you there or able to deliver what it is that you believe you deserve, bin them and go and find someone else.
I think back to what I was accepting and begging for.
So,
and I look what I've got now. I don't even have to ask the man anything. He, honestly, when I say he goes above and beyond, like, I've never been treated this way. And actually, like, maybe a lot of the things he does is like, not, I don't want to say bare minimum because that's not right, but like, that is how we deserve to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it shouldn't be.
And do you know what's actually really
exceptional thing?
Do you know what's actually really interesting? And I think that people should maybe take this on board. I think when you've been in a relationship where you were barely getting the bare minimum and it was really crap, I think what I've also noticed on reflection is when you're going from being with someone that's down here and anything else is better. And it's really being vigilant on, are they amazing or are they just better than what was all the way down there? 100%. And it's making sure that you aren't fixated on, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing that for me. Well, actually, hold on, like that's quite normal. Yeah. Like, don't be. I think in my next relationship, I'm always going to be grateful for someone doing lovely things for me, but I'm never going to be like worshipping the ground they walk on because they do something that they should be doing. Right. And I think it's really knowing your worth. And I don't think even in any of my relationships, I've been at the point where I'm at now, where I know like what is expected and then what's above expectation. And I think there is a difference.
We've had this conversation, like we've both said to each other, like, do you think you love me this much because it's just better than what we had? Like, it's quite nice that we can talk about those kind of things as well. And like, we're both in agreement. It's not just because of that. It's like, for me, my needs are met and like surpassed. Like, just the way he makes me feel safe and secure. Like, he goes above and beyond to do that. So yeah, and like, I think we just need to reaffirm, like, I think in our head sometimes we think, well, this is just what all men are like. Like, I'm never going to find a man like, no man will do that. Maybe I do need to lower my expectations. You don't. There are men who will do that for you. They exist and you will attract them. I just need to put it out there.
I agree. I remember sometimes having conversations with girlfriends about like a date that I maybe was going to go on or something. And I'd mentioned something that this guy would do for me. Like, I can't think off the top of my head who I'm talking about, but whether it's like opening the car door or doing something, I'd be like how cute. And my best friend, who's in like the most secure, loving, happy marriage, would be like, I'm so sad that you think that's exceptional.
Yeah,
it's fucking normal.
I thought that when my boyfriend like started opening the door, I was like, oh my God.
But don't get me wrong, it's nice. It's nice to see it.
Yeah.
But expect it. Don't be blown away by normal behaviour, how a man should treat a fucking lady. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
That's where I'm at right now.
No, I agree.
Princess fucking treatment or nothing. Guys, I feel like anyone watching this is going to want to know when my jumper is, and if you don't, then why? But this is from Primark, and I'm just loving that. Like, I support the Chiefs now. Travis Kelce vibes.
Cool.
I mean, it's the fact that I'm in like a full-on jumper in July. Like, what?
I'm over it. My story. Thank you for creating this podcast. I'm in Australia.
Love that.
Worldwide, baby.
We're going down under.
Good day, mate. I'm in Australia and I've only... No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, Jesus.
And I'm only up to episode 24, but I resonated deeply when you said in this episode, people kept telling you, oh my God, you're so strong. I'm not strong. I just have no choice but to keep going. I feel that so much. Anyway, I won't go into everything fully as there is a lot that happened, but here is a summary, I guess. My husband and I, after being together for 11 years, separated in March this year. We have a son together who just turned 1 in April, and when he was 3 months old, my husband decided that he would work away to earn a good income. It was supposed to be a 12-month sacrifice to allow me to stay home with our baby. His work was a couple of hours away, so he'd be away all week and home only on Saturday and Sunday. However, in November, he started working a lot of overtime. Trigger warning. Saying it was to get us ahead so he wouldn't have to do it for too long and so I could stay home. Do you know what else really annoys me about this? Yeah, is how manipulating that is. That is
making out he's doing her a favour.
Like, oh my God, you are such a good person. Don't cover up your bullshit trying to put yourself on a pedestal that you're doing this for someone else when it's quite clear where this is going, isn't it? Oh yeah, sorry, that really bugs me. You absolute hero. Should we give him a medal?
Blue piece badge
and a cape.
A cape. I think we should wear capes.
We so should wear. Not all heroes wear capes. I decided to get a part-time job in admin, working from home whilst my baby slept. I worked 15 hours a week, mainly at night once my baby was asleep. The overtime kept going, and he was home for only about 12 hours a weekend, with only 3 of those hours being whilst we were all awake.
Oh my God.
Do you know what? More for him. Like, your baby kids are only little for so long.
Yeah,
you're a shit
dad, mate.
I always think like a lot of these people, they make these decisions now. They live in this selfish mindset. They think about themselves. They're dick. I think a lot of these people, and I don't want to say men, but I'm probably going to. They live in this selfish world, and they get like tunnel vision. All they can think about is their dick getting wet. You know, a lot of these women are going to like be literally stroking their egos, making them feel really good. They're in this bubble. At home, they think of like their family as like this hard work. There's crying, there's, you know, lack of sleep, there's this, there's that. And I think they go along and they feed into this selfish world. And I think there will come a time when their child is older and they've looked back and maybe they're not with said woman anymore and they're miserable, and actually the reality of it hits home. Because I do think sometimes, mostly with men, I think the reality and the realisation of what they've done actually does take them longer to process.
Sometimes I think, sadly, they never realise what they like.
I agree.
They don't realise what they had.
I agree, but I think sometimes, like, say, that relationship then doesn't work out, they'll look back and they'll be like, wow, I missed out on my kids.
Hope so.
Where was I? Whenever I asked him to cut back the overtime, he would get angry at me, saying he was doing this for me. I hate him. I would ask if I needed to return to work more, and he would say he wanted me to stay home with our son as that's what's best for him. Oh, this really aggravates me. In the last week of January, I discovered he was having an affair with his 22-year-old work colleague. He also came clean to me about his drug addiction and admitted he was basically on drugs all the time. Between then and our separation in March, so much happened that I won't write it all because it would take days. The constant gaslighting and manipulation were unbearable. I gave him 3 chances to end things, and each time he told me he had, only for me to find out each time he never did. Joe, I think you get to a point where these people become such compulsive liars. They believe their own lies. Oh, they get stuck in this thing and they're like,
absolutely do.
Like, I genuinely think they believe it, and they believe like they're just like, I was doing it for you. I think he actually probably believes he was doing it for you by this point. Like, I think they get so invested in their lies and they believe them. Like, I think it's a condition.
I think some compulsive liars lie about things that are even like don't need
like
what they had for lunch.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they need to lie. Like, what did you have for lunch? Burger, but he had a steak. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Like, it's just so weird. Like, I have to, like, you know, like that film Liar Liar, where he has to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I feel like these people like have to.
But I do, like, it's something like, I think the lies like get so out of control that they actually forget how to tell the truth, and just everything's
and they start believing it.
Yeah. Like, even like when they make up new versions of events, and then I think they actually believe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Finally, in March, he decided to leave my son and me for her, telling me it wasn't about me, it wasn't about her, but it was so our son didn't grow up to be like him. Confusing, yes. Anyway, I was broken. This man's cuckoo. The past few months have been hell. I don't know how I'm getting by, but I am. I've been seeing a psychiatrist weekly, and with her help, I've realised how toxic our relationship was and how I was mentally, emotionally and financially abused for years. This abuse made me too scared to walk away when I discovered the affair each time. I now do know I will be better off without him, but it's just a tough road getting there. I have been raising my child basically on my own for almost a year anyway, with him working away, but it is really starting to sink in that I'm doing it alone forever, whilst trying to heal and move forward in my life. Since our separation, he has had only 3.5 hour visits with our son, supervised by his mother due to his drug use and my distrust in him. So I am the sole parent, doing it all on my own. We have reached the tantrum meltdown stage, and this week we are teething. I'm feeling the weight of everything being on me all day, every day. No tapping out when I'm at my wit's end. I just simply have to keep going. Today has been constant meltdowns and tantrums. That's one thing I will say as a single parent, is the hardest thing is on those days where you need to tap out, you need that breath, you need that step back, because you know you're probably not going to lose your shit. Yeah, you're not going to handle it in the way you want to be. You're not going to be the parent you want to be. and you can't because you've got no one there, and you have to find this enormous strength to push through. And sometimes we get it wrong, and I think it's really important we forgive ourselves for that, because we're not perfect and we are taking on so much more than people who have got someone else there with them. But it's not normal to be doing this on our own.
I've had times where I have actually walked away from a situation I probably shouldn't, gone into a room, shut the door, and barricaded myself, like used myself to barricade the door to stop them coming anywhere near me, because I needed to to regulate myself, and I can't. And
it's really hard.
It is.
That is the hard.
You're not alone, honestly.
Do you know what? I think the biggest thing for me has been with that, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm this perfect parent who always gets it right and always manages to take that step back and get my space before going in. Sometimes I lose my shit. I do. I lose my shit. I get frustrated, particularly if I know this is happening when I'm meant to be working. I have this real big, that makes the stress even worse. But one thing that does always help slightly, and I think it's no matter how young your child is just always apologising. Even if you think they're too young to understand it, just making that a regular thing, knowing it's okay to be a human. And sometimes we can't, even as adults, control our emotions, and to apologise. And I don't know, I think for me, like seeing my children replicate that now, even Milo, who's 2, just makes it, don't get me wrong, I still beat myself up with mum guilt on those days, but it does help slightly.
No, I know.
When I finally got him to sleep tonight, I walked upstairs and saw the mess, the toys everywhere, the mess from dinner, the dishes, everything that had to be done before I logged on to work. In that moment, I just bawled my eyes out. How do you do it? How do you continue going day by day, raising a child whilst also trying to heal from so much damage and trauma? I don't know what I really want to get from writing this, but I just needed to get it out tonight. Thank you for reading.
Look, I think the only thing that I can say is, however much when you're in it, it feels like the worst thing ever.
It does.
It's not going to be permanent. Your kids get older, things change, they grow up. And I think I've said it quite a lot. It's the days are long, but the years are short. And, you know, like I have moments, especially with Blake's behaviour and how challenging it is at the moment, and getting him assessed for ADHD. Like, I remember when I know that he's got ADHD. I'm waiting for an assessment just so I can
confirm.
Yeah, but you know, being a single mum is hard enough. And then I thought, really, do I have to? Do we have to add another obstacle or like another thing that's going to make it harder? But I do. I know we always say it. I don't want to be strong, but I have to be. But I do really, really believe that we are not given things that we cannot handle. And I remember thinking that way even when I had twins, and I was like, cool, bring it on. I'm obviously meant to have twins. Like, it's going to be hard, but I can hack it. Then when I found out Rome was a twin, I was like, okay, right, well, I did it really well, so someone wants me to do it again. Obviously, it didn't. And I don't know, I am a real strong believer that, like, put it this way, okay? For someone, talking from someone who is probably in the best place mentally that I have been in the last 5 years, I never thought that I would say that whilst being alone and single. I always thought that relationship defined my success as a person, my happiness, everything. I have learnt so much about myself. I now know my worth in ways I never did. I now have an independence that I've never had. And I'm now so looking forward to being this version of myself and offering it to someone that deserves that. And I deserve that back. And I just feel like, had I not gone through every single thing that I've gone through so far, as cliche as it sounds, I wouldn't be the person that I am right now. And I'm really fucking happy with the person that I am. So do you know what? However hard it seems in that moment, and I still have hard times and challenges, I genuinely see them now as life lessons and reasons for them. I'm like, cool, like this is just going to add another building block onto who I am as a person, what I need to learn. As long as we take the lessons from it, I think it does shape you into also an amazing mum, and who is going to ground your children in a way that I wouldn't be the mum that I am now without having gone through everything. And if that's the reason for it, to make my kids the strongest version of themselves and empathetic and everything that I want them to be, I know they're going to get that because of what I've been through. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I want to say on that, I really resonate. Like, I do a lot of my work in the evenings, and I feel like I come down and you look at the state of the house, and you like, I want to like normalize this. Like, I've lost track of months. I'm like nearly 18 months into it, and I still have days where I come down and I look at everything and I burst out crying, and you just kind of have to roll with it. And do you know what? It's okay some days to be like, I'm going to leave that mess for tomorrow.
Oh God, I need a mess.
Step back, and I'm not going to do that. You know, it's cutting yourself some slack. It's realizing actually the load you are taking on is far beyond what most people take on, and what you're doing is exceptional. I saw a really good, I'll post it on our page actually, a really good reel the other day, I saved it, saying like being a single parent is one of the hardest jobs
I saw that as well
in the world because of the sheer load of it. Like, all of these things, I get so overwhelmed sometimes thinking about the load of it all. And I used to feel overwhelmed when I was married. Now you're doing it on your own completely. And, you know, there's obviously a lot more financial pressure on top of it all. I just sometimes I'll sometimes I feel like I'll get to a point where I have the breaking point, and often I like have a meltdown to my boyfriend. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, it's just too much. And sometimes he stops me in my tracks. He's like, you are doing the most incredible job. Like, you're doing this with minimal help. You are literally doing like 85-90% of the load of it all. He's like, you don't stop and give yourself enough credit. Like, so many people couldn't handle that.
Like I said, start being kinder to yourself and realizing, like, also like mess, it's not going to hurt anyone. Like, sometimes you've got to pick your battles, and at times,
you know what I sometimes do? I'll be like, I'm not spending my night cleaning. I'm going to set a 10-minute timer. Whatever I get done in that 10 minutes is done. It's a bit better. I've done something. And some days I just leave it.
Yeah,
because I'm like, no, my mental capacity is full right now. I can't physically cope with it. I actually need to sit down. Takes 10 minutes before I start my work, and that's what I do. And yeah, it is. And you know what? I'm like, I'll be completely honest with you. It actually gets easier as the kids get older. My kids are now at an age where they help me clean up, and we've been doing that regularly. My house, you said to me, my house is the cleanest you've seen it. My kids and I cleaned up before they went to bed tonight. Like, once they start older and they, you know, really get them to muck in to looking after your house. Like, I chuck my robot Hoover on. I didn't tonight because I was worried he wouldn't be done before you got here. Don't want him buzzing around. But little things like that to make your life easier, honestly. Yeah, just remember you were doing the most incredible job.
Amen. Hold on, let's do a confession of the week, guys.
This is my confession.
Just been
Okay, it's a short one, but we're here for it. She's a single mum. I went to a swingers club in Tenerife and had my first threesome with 2 of the barmen. And then she did like the hot sweaty.
Oh my God, love that. It's quite a good confession. Blimey. Inspired.
And it's your vision board.
Can you imagine if on my vision board just 2 men with a woman?
So I did yesterday, my first like reflection on my vision board. I've ticked off so much.
I love that.
I didn't realise.
Love that.
I do think, that do a little reflection because we are over halfway through the year now, and then like readjust. I know you've readjusted yours, haven't you?
I haven't. Well, I did. No, I made another one. I made a love board. Yeah, it's A4 and it's right next to my bed, and it is literally purely based on my next man. Not my next man,
but the man. Creepy if he gets into your bed.
The man.
Him and it's like, is this me?
I'd be like, yep.
Thank you guys for listening.
Let's do a little affirmation.
Oh, sugar, we do need to do
How about never feel like you need to lower your expectations for someone that thinks they're too high. If they think they're too high, it's just because they cannot meet them.
Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you guys so much. We love you.